What are they doing?
Okay. Where do we even start with this one? Okay, first of all, I get dragged into this little menage a trois. And I get to be frickin' Cindy. Now, mind you, I have been up since 3 a.m. I have not eaten since 12. I could eat the ass off a running dog. I am so hungry. So this is going to be the shortest talk I've ever done. Thank you. Thank you, my darling. This is going to be the shortest talk I've ever done. Because they asked me to talk about, we've earned excellence in 4 categories, and one of them was sales. But I have to tell you, everything I was going to talk about is freaking been talked about. Can't. So, I'll have to act like Cindy. I was trying to think about how Cindy talked. Like, oh my God, hi. I can't even do it. I'm so tired. So the only thing I thought I could tell you about is what every business needs is for you to create a personal brand. And a lot of people have kind of hit on it. Some girls don't like to cook. Some girls love to cook. Michael just talks nonsense at his shows. Nobody knows what he's talking about. Painting barns and, I don't know. I have no idea what the man talks about. But people buy from him, so who cares, right? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Tennille will just, break your arm if you don't do what she wants you to do. I'm pretty sure she's part of the mafia. I don't know. But there have been so many great speakers up here. So many great speakers that have built fabulous businesses, and wouldn't you agree they're all a little bit different, right? So your job is to take what they've told you and apply it to what will work for you. I do not recommend wearing this wig. So I'm going to give you just a couple of tips, because quite honestly, most of it was covered, and I cannot bore you to tears with all of that. But I was going to tell you tips that I learned from Cindy. Number one, she was the youngest one, so she always had to follow Marcia, and what's that other one's name? Jan. So in this business, there's always people that are going to be above you. And she had to learn from her sisters or whatever, learn from the people that you've met today and tomorrow and the next couple of days, and find out what they're doing and how you could take what they do and make it your own. Because, I just would not be good with some of the stuff you do, and you probably would not be good with this. So my advice is to find what you like and take that and do that. Don't worry about the rest, find the good things that work for you. Number two, I found some really great tips earlier in my career, and the best one that I learned was from the California girls that they served alcohol at their parties. I'm in Michigan. It never even crossed my mind, that to serve alcohol. How many of you have made pink panty droppers at your parties ever? Pink panty droppers? Do you know how to make them? Get your pen out and I will tell you how to make pink panty droppers. They're the best drink you'll ever have. You take a can of pink lemonade, put it in your quick stir pitcher, add a can of water. This is optional. You don't have to add water, because if you don't, it's entirely all booze. It's great. Add in 2 pink wine coolers, like the Jamaican Me Happy are delicious. Or just drink the wine coolers and forget the whole party. Add a can of vodka. and a beer. A can of vodka, or more to taste, I'm just saying. And you mix them up in your quick stir pitcher. And when I offer recipes, I say if you want to make your party a party, they have to buy the ingredients, they're serving it, but I make it. You'll get people really loosened up. All right, another tip really is that there is no status quo in any kind of career like this. You're either moving forward or you're going backwards, right? You cannot just say, well, you know, I've made it, I've achieved it, I'm going to just like rest on my laurels. It doesn't work. All of the top achievers that you heard from work every day as hard as they did the day they started their businesses. That is the truth. And that's the secret when you have your own business. My dad had a travel agency. He worked till he was 73 years old and blind because he loved what he did. And he couldn't let his employees down, and he kept that agency open long past when it probably should have closed. But when you find something that you love, you want to do it. You fall in love with your business. Like Ellington said, there are great things happening, and you have to fall in love, and you will never work another day in your life. It's all fabulous fun and games, right? I'm just going to skip all these. Should I just skip them? I'm going to skip them. I'll just give you a couple more. Another thing I learned from Cindy is to not take no for an answer. Kids, I don't know, how many of you had kids? I'm sure some of you had. I've had 3 of my own, 2 steps, 11 grandkids now. These kids will wear you down to a nub, asking you the same question. Mimi, can we go in the pool? Can we go out in the water? Can we do this? Can we do that? No. And you know, eventually I'm going to say yes. And they know it. And my kids are the same. So when you're asking somebody to book a party, you got to get a thick skin in this business. You have to ask again and again and again. And when you hear no, you can't take it personally. This is a business. This is our business. And if you want it to succeed like Ellington's has succeeded, you are going to get your 3 bookings come hell or high water. There's just no question, right? So don't take no for an answer. Don't take no's personally. Ask questions. I wrote down the question, why is Daddy wrestling with Mommy in the bedroom? That must have been a Cindy. Why is Daddy wrestling with what story was I going to tell about that, I wonder? No. Oh, this is man. I hate to do this. No. All right, but ask questions. Like, when you're working with your team, ask questions. You can't find out what's happening unless you're going to talk to them. I don't know where I was going with that. Never mind. My last thing, we're going to turn it over to somebody who knows what they're doing these days, is get yourself an Alice. Oh my gosh. The rest of it, forget everything I just said and skip right to get Alice. So you go home from conference and your husband says, well, what did you learn? I'm getting an Alice. But this is the truth. Your time is much better spent getting bookings, working with your consultants, working with your hosts, than cleaning toilets and doing all the mundane work. Get somebody to help you with the... I have not cleaned my house in 25 years. It's a filthy pigsty. So, I've had lots of Alices in my life, and there are women who like to clean. Freaks of nature. But get yourself an Alice. And if you tell me I don't have time to work my business, all that stuff that you're doing to keep up your house, that's just wasted time. Because those kids, those little piglets, they're going to mess it up again. No doubt about it. So get yourself an Alice, work your business, don't take no, find your own niche, create your own brand, and let's hear from our fabulous Jan.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Stacy, and Jan. And you know, I thought about. I'm actually going to share with you a little bit about recruiting because you have to start with the bookings and the sales to get to the recruits, which is another category that we earn excellence in. And when I thought about what I could share with you, knowing that other top Sharon, I was sort of stumped for a minute. So I asked my friend, well, what should I say? And she just said, tell them what you do. So that's what I'm going to do. I like to know the steps to get me where I want to go, right? So just tell me what I got to do, and I'll do it. So that's what I'm going to do for you, share with you my 5 simple steps for recruiting. 1, I connect with every guest when they walk in the door. 2, I share my story at the start of my show. 3, I share my commission check, a check from one of the directors on my team, and a check from a new consultant. 4, I do the ticket activity. And 5, I ask everyone if they'd like to try out the business during my checkout chat. And that's all the time they gave me because Marsha had to have more. You know, sometimes it's really difficult to figure out what's missing from your business if you're not getting the results that you're wanting. And you might be sitting there thinking, you know what, I do those exact 5 things, but I'm not getting enough recruits to earn the Excellence Award in recruiting. So I just want to tell you, it's not really as much about what you do and what you say, as it is about how you do it and how you say it. And I can really only think of one word that describes the way that you should do it, and somebody else said it earlier, and that's the word passionately. So, how does Webster define passionately? It's having, showing, or expressing strong emotion or belief. So let me first start by telling you a couple things that passion is not. Passion is not obnoxious. So that means when I leave conference, I will not be accosting every person I meet in the airport telling them they should join my team. However, one of the new directors on my team walking this week, I did recruit last year on the way home from a conference. Passion is not self-centered. Sharing the business is offering something amazing to someone that could change their life, meet their needs, and benefit them. And passion is not pushy. When someone tells me that they're not interested, I don't nag them to death, begging them to join my team. But I do offer it to them at the next show and every single show when I see them, because I don't know what could have changed in their life. So if passion is showing strong emotion and belief, what is it that we believe in, and where does that emotion come from? Well, let me just tell you where my emotion comes from. Pampered Chef has changed my life and the life of my family. I'm sure some of you have heard my story of how I grew up in poverty. We were a welfare family that received WIC, free breakfast and lunch at school. My mom shopped with food stamps. My dad stood in bread and cheese lines when the state would hand out food, the whole 9 yards. My mom couldn't afford to buy toilet paper, so she would send me into McDonald's to get napkins. My husband and I married at a very young age, and I was a stay-at-home mom. Although we could afford toilet paper, we struggled a lot. My 20-year-old daughter was telling one of her younger brothers just the other day how I would take her and her older brother to Chuck E. Cheese when they were little. And this was back before they had all of the rides with the tokens that cost money, and there was a whole lot of stuff there that kids could do for free. They could play in the ball pits, and they could climb in the tubes and go down the slides. Well, we couldn't afford to buy pizza, so I would pack peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and take my kids to play at Chuck E. Cheese for free. We only had one vehicle, no cell phone, even when most people had one, no computer, and we ate a whole lot of hamburger helper. We didn't vacation, we didn't have a savings account, much less a retirement account, but we sure had a whole lot of debt. Maybe some of you are living like this right now, struggling to make ends meet. Not even sure why you came to conference because you really couldn't afford to do it, but something inside said you need to be here. I have passion for this business because within 6 short months of joining Pampered Chef, I completely paid off all of our debt. I have passion because this business is flexible, and I've been able to be a stay-at-home mom during the day to my 5 children and work as much or as little as I want, and more importantly, when I want to do it. I have passion because I've been able to pay cash for braces, cars, remodeling projects around our home, private school tuition, college tuition, mission trips, and more. I have passion because I don't take my kids to Chuck E. Cheese. I take them to Disney World and Disneyland for free. I have passion because 3 years ago we adopted a little baby, and I paid cash for the entire adoption, no loans whatsoever. I have passion for this business because some of my very best friends in the entire world are sitting in this room tonight from all across the country, and I would have never had the blessing of having them in my life if it were not for this company. What do I believe? I believe this business changes lives. I believe it makes things possible for you and your family that you never dreamed possible. I believe you can wipe out your debt. I believe any person can find success. It does not matter what size you are, how old or young you are, what color you are, and if you've never cooked a day in your life. I believe there is absolutely no risk in trying this. If someone has to scrape together their very last penny to buy a kit, they will have a kitchen full of top-of-the-line products that are going to save them time and give them access to simple and delicious, inexpensive recipes for their family. We do not have to live off of Hamburger Helper. I believe that there are many ways to do parties and find success. You just have to find the way that works for you. Presentation style, station style, virtual parties, it's all good. I believe that right now, today, is the very best time to be a part of this amazing company. Be a part of our growth. It's the very best thing we can share with people. And I believe that Pampered Chef is the very best direct selling company in the United States of America. Right, my girl Ellington says, good things are happening and even better things are on the way. We are a ground floor company again, but we have 35 years of experience and brand recognition. So how are you sharing the business opportunity at your shows? What does your passion look like? Are you confident because you know what you believe? Can your guests feel your emotion because you just can't help but light up when you share this, what this business is doing for you, but more importantly, what it can do for them? Recently, I asked a few consultants on my team a question. What is it that I did or said at the show that made you decide to give this business a try? And here is a couple of their responses. It was your passion and energy for it. You spoke so positively and passionately about the company and the product. You showed a strong belief in the success of your team and your dedication to it. I wanted to be a part of that. Someone else said, honestly, I was looking for something, but I didn't know what. You just gave me the confidence that I could do this, and I was so excited that it could be done online. I think that's what cinched it. Somebody else said, you bought your husband a Jeep. One more. I think what really caught my attention was how much fun you were having while showing the products and making the food. It wasn't a show, it was passion. So my challenge to you is if you aren't having consultants join your team on a regular basis, take some time to think about what this company has done for you and your family. How has it changed your life? What do you believe it can do for you in the future? Passion comes from your beliefs, so even if you haven't reached those goals yet, believe that you will, and that emotion and passion will come through. So let me just back it up real quick to those 5 simple steps for recruiting. Connect when the guests arrive. Talk to them. Get to know them. Ask them questions about them. Don't talk about yourself. When you know what their life is like, you can share how the business could help meet their needs. 2, share your story. It only takes about 2 minutes, but it's so important. This is how guests relate to you. What was your life like prior to the Pampered Chef? What were you looking for from the business? What were you nervous about before joining? And what gave you the courage to try it anyway? How is your life better? And what are your goals for the future? 3, show them the money. I always show my very first commission check, 2 cooking shows and 1 catalog show, $405.22. Then I show my most recent check, Usually somewhere between 8 to 10 cooking shows, a couple of virtual parties, and somewhere between $9,000 and $10,000. If you don't have one that big, ask your upline for a copy of theirs. Show all kinds of checks. What does the check look like from someone that's doing all virtual parties? How about a new consultant on your team, or a director? 4, the ticket activity is the recruiting activity that I do. Do stealing hearts or the poker game, whatever. When someone asks you a question, answer it with passion and give them more than they asked for. How much does it cost to get started? Well, we have a couple of different kit options, and here's the best part. Those products are yours forever. There is no pampered chef police that ever comes to your door and takes anything back. Try this business for 30 days. You don't have to marry me, just date me for a month. Try 1 party a week. You'll have a kitchen full of products and a pocket full of cash. And then 5, ask everyone, why wouldn't you? We don't know what's going on in their life. We don't know what's keeping them awake at night that they are stressing over. We don't know if they're lonely or just want something of their own to be passionate about. How selfish of us to assume that they wouldn't want the opportunity to choose to be a part of something that could change their life. So the more people you share this opportunity with, the more people will join your team. And the more people that join your team, the more people that you'll have to work with to develop into directors. Or Sharon, or Marsha, was going to talk to you about.
So Stacy is responsible for this fiasco up here. Thanks, Stacy. Dragon us into this. Okay, so now we have the recruits. First we did the sales with Marna, and now we have the recruits with Stacy, and then what? So the question always is, you recruit people, you add them to your team, but what happens to them? Most of the time they seem to fall through the cracks, but how do we develop them into leaders? So I know most of the time the word that we hear at conferences is being intentional. And for me, many years ago, I didn't really know what that word meant. But I'm going to tell you that when you're intentional about what you want, amazing things will happen. If you're intentional about getting bookings, and you wake up every day saying, I'm going to get 2 or 3, like Ellington said, you will. If you wake up every day and say, I'm going to go to that show and I'm going to change somebody's life tonight, you will. And the same thing is with developing leaders, is really the same thing. You need to wake up every single day and work on developing leaders and building a team. It's working smarter and not harder. We don't have a 401k at the Pampered Chef. Your team is your 401k. So the best advice that I could give you is to invest in people and not paper. Take the time to work with your team. So I kind of just have a couple of notes jotted down because I know you guys heard a lot of information here this evening and you're probably on overload at this point. So it's so important to speak to a new recruit and ask them what they want. So you're not disappointed and you know exactly where to move from the get-go. Are they looking for part-time, full-time, or career time? If you ask them, they will tell you. Talk about the Fast Track program. You know, I probably promoted 1 Fast Track director before the past couple of years, and 7 of the last 10 promotions on my team this past year were Fast Track promotions. And it wasn't that they knocked on my door, it was that I became intentional about it, and I talked about it from the very beginning. And a bunch of them are in the room tonight, and if you ask them, they would tell you. I spoke about that with the same passion and excitement I do about the business opportunity at my shows, like Stacy just spoke about. So the moment that I signed someone, I had that 72-hour strong stock call, and I spend a lot of time talking about that program. Because guys, if you don't realize it, I'm going to tell you that that program is crazy. If you worked a full-time job and your boss came into you and said, listen, you're going to get a raise, you're going to get a $500 cash bonus, and you're going to get our entire product line if you do blank, do you think anyone would say, I'm good, we're okay? No, everyone's going to want to hear more, so you need to offer that opportunity to everybody with that same passion and excitement you do about anything else you want in your business. So definitely promote the Fast Track program. The other thing is, and again, this is your business, and some of you may cringe when I say this, but I always do a grand opening when I can. Again, I invest in people and not paper. I want to give them that out of the gate moment that they're going to have when I show up at their grand opening. Almost always I sign someone at somebody's grand opening. Almost 100% of the time I will get a new team member for a new consultant, because think about who's there. It's their friends and family, and they want to be a part of the excitement that's in the room that night. So if you can, go to that first show. I encourage them in the very beginning, new consultants, to book at least 6 shows. I used to start with 8, and I found that intimidated a lot of people. And Belinda Ellsworth, who's an amazing motivational speaker, did a training that I went to last year. And she said something that I started implementing, the 222. She asks them to book 2 grand openings, which is what I do now, because not everyone can come to the first one. So if they can't come to Thursdays, you let them know you can have one on Saturday. So 2 grand openings, I go to the first one. I tell them that I'm going to get them 2 bookings at that grand opening, and then I only ask them to book 2 shows on their own. So they'll have 6 shows on their calendar. I tell them that this is going to get them the skills and the confidence that they need to move forward. Those are the words that I use, and I use them very carefully. I don't want them to book 1 show, because if they had a full-time job and they showed up to the office and everyone said to them, "How'd your first day go?" No one's going to say, "Great." They're going to say, "I don't know, it was my first day, I wasn't really sure." It's the same thing with this business. You don't want them to do 1 show. You want them to get at least 6 on the calendar, because then they will have the skills and the confidence to move forward. And when you explain it like that, most of them are like, "You know what? I understand, you're right." So have them book 2 grand openings, you're going to get them 2 bookings, and they're just going to have to book 2 on their own. Most people can do that. The other thing is, make a list of who they know right out of the gate. When I talk to a brand new consultant, I have them make that launch list right on PC University. You know, PC University, if you haven't navigated it yourself, guys, is a wealth of information. They have given us everything we need to find success in this business. So I say to my brand new consultants, I want you to make a list of who you know. Who do you know that needs some extra money? Who do you know that loves to cook? Who do you know that lost their job? Who do you know whose husband or wife lost their job? Who would you like to have on your team? Maybe they don't even know about Pampered Chef, but you'd love to work with them. Nobody will ever take offense if you call somebody up and you say, "I just started this brand new business. I don't even know what I'm doing, but all I can think about is how you would be great at this." So that's what you want to have them do out of the gate, is to make that launch list. Not just a launch list for shows, but a launch list for business partners. The other thing is 3-way calls. My new directors will tell you that I ride them like Seabiscuit. I am not kidding you. I tell them right out of the gate, you get someone that's interested, you are not responsible for calling them. You call me up and you say to me that my friend Susie would be great at this and she'd love to hear a little bit more. They're brand new. It's not their job, nor do they have the word choices to get a new person to join their team. So we do 3-way calls constantly. And I'm going to tell you that once they have that first one, and that first consultant signs, or maybe it's their second consultant because you've gotten them one at their grand opening, you are going to see so much momentum and so much excitement in them, because now they're a team leader. So the next thing I do is I get them excited about what could be. You have 2 team members. Do you realize how close you are to directorship? Do you realize how close you are to being a fast track director? Do you know how few people in this company are fast track directors? Guys, that is an incredible feat to accomplish that. Not many people can say that they do, and I really believe in that program now, and that's why I'm promoting fast tracks. It wasn't something that I was passionate about years ago, so there was no surprise that I wasn't moving directors quickly. And the other thing is, let them know that you will be there for them 24/7. I know a lot of people have office hours, and I think that's a great thing, but for me, my kids are older, so I have a lot more flexibility. So I let them know that I am there for them no matter what. Their success is my success. No question is silly. I want them to call me no matter what. I am there for them. Let them know that this is a partnership. Let them know that you are their mentor. They shouldn't be embarrassed to call you with a silly question, because no question is silly. And when you let them know that, they will appreciate that. I promise you that. Support them and support their new team members as well. I always tell them, don't be afraid to add new team members. It's not your job to train them, it's my job to train them. Together we will train them, and then I promise you, somewhere down the line, you're gonna get this and you'll be able to do it on your own. But from the beginning, I'm gonna work with you and I'm gonna work with you new team members. Because how many people that you've heard say to you, I don't know enough about it, I feel like I can't share this business opportunity yet, I'm brand new myself. That's okay, it's not your job to train them, it's my job. The Pampered Chef pays me for being a trainer, and it's my pleasure to help you find success in this business. And in closing, the last thing I just want to say to you is something that you've probably heard all evening. Just be excited. Be excited for them and with them, and I promise you, you're going to see amazing growth in your business. Thanks, guys.